Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be showing you guys how to paint this cute little snowman, and here's some of the brushes that we're going to be using as well as the colors and the canvas. So I've got a 1-inch mop brush, I've got a mini mop brush, a number 4 filbert brush, I've got a number 2 round, as well as a mini liner brush. I've got a 9x12 canvas. It's stretched, primed once with acrylic gesso. And let's just go over the colors now. For my turquoise, I've got blue teal today, and this is by Artist Loft, and it's Professional 3, high viscosity. You can use any turquoise you want though. I've got a neon luminous yellow, and a luminous opera or neon pink. And of course you can use any regular pink and yellow that you want. You don't have to have neons for this painting. These are my favorite paints of what I like to use. I've got some Mars black, of course any black that you want, and light olive green. Any yellow green or even a green gold would work. A sap green would work as well. I'm going to be mixing my light olive green with my Mars black to create more of a sap green, and then use this color for highlights as well as a little bit of white. I'm going to be painting a few little berries for our little holly that's going to be around her hat and in her hand. And I'm using Scarlet Red today. I was kind of on the fence about using Scarlet Red or Crimson Red, but I've been using Crimson Red a lot lately, so I thought I would change it up and use my Scarlet Red. But it really doesn't matter what red that you use, so you can use any red that you like. And I'll have a full list below the video in the description box for all of the colors and brushes today if you missed any. And I've got some titanium white that I'm going to be using as well. And I've got a little palette knife here only for scooping out my white paint. I've got a little towel, of course, to dry my brushes off, and a big jug of water to clean. Since I'm going to start with the background first, I'll just put these two colors out for now, and then I'll start coming in with more of the foreground and our snowman. So I'm going to be using my 1-inch mop brush today to just get a nice soft blending for the background. I'm going to get my brush wet this time. I usually use my large filbert brush, and I wanted to just show you guys a different way of creating soft backgrounds. So get it a little bit wet, and I'm going to start by taking a little bit of white and then a scoop of the blue or the teal, both on the brush at the same time, and I'm just going to start swirling around, creating little circles. This is already giving us that soft, wintry, snowy background feeling to the painting. So as my paintbrush starts to dry out, as you can see here and you can hear it, I'm going to go back in, dip it in a little bit of water, do the same thing, a little bit of white and a little bit of my teal. And I'll just start down here. Again, soft circles, clockwise and counterclockwise. You can even just have fun with your backgrounds. It's a great way to start a painting if you're kind of in that loose, kind of free-flowing mood with your paint and your brush. And this is a good way to begin a painting. If you have a background kind of like this, it's nice. Kind of just loosens you up. I'm going to add a little bit more of my turquoise down here. I want it to be a little bit darker so that everything around it really shows up and my snowman pops out even more. This will dry a little bit darker as well. Acrylic paint dries 1 to 2 shades darker. Okay, I'm all finished with that brush. Don't forget to wash your brushes out right away. Okay, I'm gonna come in now with my filbert brush and start adding just straight white here down on the bottom. This is gonna be, and you can see I'm just not over blending in any area, just wanna create some whimsical looking snow here in the foreground. So just little circles. You could also tap if you want. Depends on what kind of texture you want your snow to have. I'm out for a soft, whimsical feel to my paintings, so that's why I want to have more curvy, round, soft lines and brush strokes. Okay, I'm also going to take my brush with a bit of white, push, twist, and let off. And I'll do a few different sizes. They'll be smaller when you don't push so hard and you're just using the tip of your brush. So this is just going to be the beginning stages of our snowflakes, and kind of just make the painting look a little bit more fun, sparkly like. I'm going to soften the edge here a little bit on this one. Twist and pull again, get just a little bit more, and make it just a little bit smaller. Now I might go over some of these with my snowman. So then I just kind of quickly, to make it look a little bit more random and maybe a little smaller here and there, somewhat messier now. As I'm doing this, the paint, you can see, is kind of starting to fall off of these brushes. I've had these brushes for a while. The bristles have held up really well, but you know that always happens with the paint on these types of brushes. That's why I prefer to get these acrylic handled ones if I can. But these are makeup brushes, so think outside the box when you're getting your paint brushes, because don't underestimate the power of a makeup brush. These blush brushes or blending brushes, whatever you want to call them, are wonderful to use. Okay, so we're now ready to start our snowman, and I'm going to be using a little bit of black now. I'll be mixing a little bit of black with my turquoise and a little bit of white. So we just want to start with the body, and this isn't going to be your typical snowman with the 3 big circles, or big, then smaller, and then smallest. This is going to be a little bit of a curvier, cute little snowman or snow woman. So I'll just take a little bit of my turquoise to start, a little bit of black, some white, and just make sort of a light turquoisey gray color. Anything that's going to be a little bit different from the background. This is just so that we can make our snowman look 3D, and then add some nice bright highlights, making it 3-dimensional. So let's just start with a shape here. And I'm going to start from the bottom up, and just start by making a curved, well, half a circle right here. We'll make it a little bit taller, and then we'll make it come out just a little bit, giving us a hint that there's a foot there. We're going to come down here and add a little bit. Now I'm just gently blending or scumbling add another little line, curve right here. This is for the leg, and then the foot will be kind of down here hidden in the snow. And then I'm gonna go in and out. Come up a little bit higher, out, and then in. So we've got a little elbow here, and then the hand, which is just a little circle like this. We'll have another little circle here. And gently, kind of softly blend this around. It's gonna be more in shadow down here, right? And then brightest here, so I don't need to bring the gray up in here. And then we're gonna bright it up in here as well. Okay, and then I'm gonna get a little bit more paint here on my brush. And we're gonna bring a scoop down here, right here, round it out, and then we'll have the hat up here. We're not really gonna see too much. I'm gonna bring this arm up a little bit higher here, guys. There we go. So I'm just gonna wash all that paint out, and then I'm gonna come back in here. Soften this area up here by scumbling off and blending a little bit of this paint out, just with a tiny bit of water. I'm not using any paint mediums at all, just a bit of water. And then of course the scarf will be in here. I'm going to blend out the shadow area here. And right in here I'm not worried too much about joining anything, so we're going to have some holly and like the holly berries and some leaves or foliage there. And then we will have a little bit of a shadow here under the hat. So I can come in with a little bit of white now. And I don't really have any gray left in my brush, so I'm not too concerned about washing it off right now. I'm going to start here at the bottom. I'm going to start in the middle where I want it to be the brightest. And again, just kind of delicately blend around in little circles. You'll see where I leave it a little bit more gray, and that's just of course for more of a shadow. Okay, go reload my brush. We're going to start to travel up here, all the while using the same brush technique, little circles. I'm gonna go right over top of part of that gray there. But when I go to reload my brush, I want the most white to be applied where my brightest highlights are gonna be. Okay, so right in here, all the way up to here. We're going to start to gradually work our way out and then come back in here. There's going to be a slight shadow in here, and then it'll be brighter here down where the foot's going, and the leg starts to come out right about there. And then you can very lightly blend over with the leftover white on your brush that by this point is hardly anything. You're kind of just dry brushing and it's pretty transparent. It's all pretty transparent at this point. This is just the first layer. I'm going to add a little bit inside this little hand here. And I'll gradually just start to add more and more. And of course, later on, I'll be adding a little bit of tinted white with my pink and my yellow. It'll get easier to add more layers here as it starts to dry a little bit more. And we can come in here and start adding some more snow. Around the base and the foreground of our little snowman. This is such a fun painting to do. Hope you guys are enjoying this one and having a fun little painting session with your loved ones and your friends and family. Okay, I'm going to start working on the face now. The brightest will be in the center here where all the features are, and then it's going to get a little bit darker around the edges of the face. Okay, I'll take a little bit more white. You can even do little taps like this too, if you want more of a textured look. And that'll make it look a little bit frostier and yeah, just a little bit more textured overall. So there's a few ways of doing it. I like to go around just slightly out of the lines a little bit. That also helps to make it look a little bit more 3D and textured like. I give it a slight outline here. Once dry, we're still gonna have that shadow there. It's just gonna help it look a little bit more three-dimensional. So we'll have the shadow here, and then light will be hitting the other part. And come in with another layer of soft circles. Okay, so we're ready to start coming in with a few more colors now and start building our snowman up. We'll add the buttons, the face, and the scarf and the hat, as well as some foliage and a little bit of snow on top of the hat too. So I've got my other colors poured out here, as you can see. I've got my scarlet red, my light green, some more of my Mars black, and my yellow and my pink. And I'm just using neons because I like them, but it doesn't matter. You don't have to have neons for this painting. You can use, like I said, any yellow or pink that you want, and really any colors that you want for your snowman. So let's get started, guys. I'm gonna begin with my round brush, and I'm gonna start by adding some highlights to my snowman, and I'm gonna start with tinting my white with a little bit of this pretty yellow. And I'm gonna start right here where I want it to be. I'm gonna apply these highlights where, of course, I want it to be the brightest. And we're gonna work our way down here. Follow under the neckline. Around the belly here. And then the leg and the foot. And then just kind of gently, because I know it's all going to dry a little bit darker, I'm going to leave a little bit of that white with the turquoise showing there in the middle where the buttons are going to be. Just add a little bit more of the yellow this time. And now we can start adding some to the face, and I'm gonna just go over this section here. So I want it to be the brightest here in the middle where we're going to see all the features. Now what I'm going to start to do is add a little bit of pink. So again, with my, take a little bit of white, a little bit of, pull in a little bit of that pink with my yellow. And I'm gonna add some rosy cheeks. And then a little bit, just a hint of it down here, just because it's pretty. I like a lot of pastel colors in my paintings. Take a little bit of white. So the little area here was a bit wet and it kind of came off of the canvas. Okay, and then back into my white with a little bit of yellow. I'm gonna kind of just tap, add a little bit more right in here. A little bit more white now, down where the mouth and the chin are going to be. And then just really lightly go over this area. And it will dry a little bit darker. But it's nice to have like a gradual sort of transition. But you'll notice that will dry a little bit darker and we'll still have that shadow there. Okay, I'm going to start working on the hat now. And then we'll come back and start adding the features on the face. So for the hat, I'm going to use my number 4 filbert, but you can use any brush size that you feel comfortable with. So I'll just take a little bit of black on, mainly the tip of my brush. And I kind of just look at the shape of the hat and I see a swirl, sort of like an S shape. So I'm going to start right about here, because I know from here to here I need this area in here for the holly and the berries. And then I'm going to go curve, sweep down and up. Okay, so that's all I want you guys to do first, is just a pretty swirly line like that. Then you're going to go down and over for the top of the head, and you're just going to simply paint that in black. I'm not worried about this mark here because that's going to be full of berries and leaves and stuff. Okay, then we're going to pull over a little line here. Just reload my brush a little bit here. And this is going to be snow in this area, so I don't need to paint that in. So wherever this blue is going to be snow. I'm just going to exaggerate this a little bit by going up and then down. I'm going to take a little bit of turquoise without washing my brush, and I'm just going to go kind of just over the brim of the hat like that. And then we're going to work on the top of the hat, which is really quirky and fun. And we're going to start right about here. And already I'm going to make just a little diagonal line, kind of wiggle and wiggle, and then bring it down here. And then right from here, make it just a little bit curved this way. So slightly curved, just a slight curve. I mean, you can really make it as curvy as you want. And then we're going to go exaggerate it out like this. And then scoop down and join from one side to the other. I'm going to pull, pull, pull. And use a little bit of turquoise. Come in and pull a few little lines. This is going to make it look a little frosty, kind of satiny and textured. Then I'm going to take white and I'm going to come in from this side. Pull. Take a little bit more here. The idea is to have it blend in a little bit with that black. And then we'll even add a little bit here around the edges. And this, of course, is going to be pink. So I'm going to wash my brush out. gonna go right into my pink and just go slightly over where we left off, picking up a little bit of that black purposely so that we add a little bit of shadow tones in there. I didn't need to go over this area here because that's going to be snow. Gonna just kind of wipe off, or you can wash off your brush if you want. Take a little bit of white, a little bit more pink without over blending. And continue with little scoops. I'm going to wash this brush out now, and I'm going to switch over to my round brush so I can get a little bit more of a smaller detail that I want here. So I want it to really look like the fabric, the ribbon around his hat here is kind of gathering. So we're going to see these little sort of soft little bumps around the edges. I'm going to take some more white and I'll go inside some of them. I'm going to wash my brush out and go back into a little bit more white. Side to side scoop. A little bit more black now. And I'm going to go right over the top, making it nice and dark, and then add in a few extra scoopy lines. I'm going to make the side of the hat look a little bumpy as well, more like little round types of bumps. Go over this black again here, and over the top we've got that brim that we added a little bit of blue to, but just want to go over right above it. Now we can start adding a little bit of snow. And I could use this brush. I think I'm going to just stick to this one for now, just because I know that black is wet. Now you could dry it off if you want first, but you can apply it without drying it off. I'm just going to start, and you can see I've got quite a bit here. It's going to be pretty thick. So I want to kind of just have it like it's kind of falling off the edges of the hat. You can tap, or you can make it kind of rounded like we did down there. Okay, and then I'm going to start adding some over here the same way, little bumps, uneven to make it look natural. And then we'll start having more where the snow would really collect in this area here. Fill this little gap in right in here. And then my leftover white, actually there's a bit of gray in there. Better wash that out. Do another layer on my snowman here, and this time I'm gonna demonstrate how you can use a little mini mop brush here. I like to show you guys different techniques with different brushes. Okay, that yellow and white. Kind of tap and get it loaded up on your brush, and then you can just tap in, tap, tap, tap for more of a textured look if you want for your snowman. We could add a little bit here and there. Have some of that pretty soft yellowy color on the snow down below, and we'll add a little bit maybe to the snow on the hat. And just a little bit here and there. Okay, now I want to start working on the ivy and the berries. I'm going to use my round brush for this, and I'm going to take a little bit of my green and a little bit of black. So you can see you don't need a lot of black. A little goes a long way. If we took a little bit of turquoise, we'll make two piles here so you can see the difference. This one will be a little bit more on the cool side, whereas that's a little bit more on the warm side. Okay, so all I want to do is just add a little tap, tap, tap here and there. If you want to make more detailed branches and little holly leaves, you definitely can. I'll get back to that in a minute and show you how, but I'm just going to add this color, up a little bit more black there. Add a little bit in here first. We'll do this in stages. We don't want to go over the hand too much, right? We want to be able to see here the hand holding a little bouquet of some holly and berries. Okay, for a little bit more of a highlight and some holly leaves, I just want to demonstrate and show you guys how to do. I'm going to be using my little liner brush and just add white to these shades of green that I made. So this will act as a highlight, and it'll also make it look like some frosty leaves. So we'll pick a few areas here where I'll start by making just little going in and out for some pointy looking leaves that of course the holly has. We have a holly tree in our yard. It's very pretty. Once in a while we get some snow here. Once in a blue moon we'll get a little bit of a snow. We live on Vancouver Island, so we don't get a lot of snow, but sure looks pretty when we do. So the best way I can describe making the shapes of these leaves, if you're not familiar with the holly leaves, some people don't know what they are and aren't familiar with them. The easiest way to paint them, and they really, like when I'm painting bat wings, if I've ever painted bat wings, they're kind of the same thing. Or like dragons. The wings on the dragons are the same. Point, scoop in, kind of like scallops, scalloped edges. Hopefully that helps. Okay, so a little bit like that. I think that shows up nice. I'm gonna add a little bit more of a highlight this time, so I'll just scoop up a little bit more white, make another shade, 1 to 2 shades lighter. And I'll pick a few areas here. I'll have more frosty looking leaves. You don't have to make everything super detailed in your paintings either, so don't get caught up in making everything compete with one another. Okay, now we'll add the berries. Clean brush, nice and dry. A little scoop of my Scarlet red. That's what I'm using. You can use any red that you want. And we'll do little, whoops, I want to make sure it's a nice little round ball on the tip of my brush. Little dabs. And little groups for the berries. A little bit more here and there. It's nice for some color. And of course, here as well. Down in here. I like to do maybe 3 to 5 little berries or more. Just kind of change it up so it doesn't look too uniform and you don't want to create too much of a pattern. So kind of try to make it a little bit more random and natural. And just for fun, I'm gonna wash my brush out, and I'm gonna take some pink with a little bit of white, kind of swirl it around to mix it, and then I'll add a few areas on some of these berries. Now our holly berries are red, but this is a make-believe painting, right? It's just, I'm having fun with color, so I wanted to add a little bit of a light pink to some of these berries because I thought it was pretty. Now somewhere in here I want to go back and add a little bit more of this red. Okay, and then I'm going to take a little bit of my yellow and white, get that pretty gold color again, and I'm just going to add a few little sprigs of something. A little something here. And then I'll add a little bit of, go back and add just a little bit of green. Looks kind of like shiny, something shiny and gold there when it dries. All right, so now, excuse me, I'm gonna come in here and add a little bit of pink to my peachy color there, a little bit more white. This liner brush is in a bit of rough shape here. I'm gonna have to, that's what I was supposed to do last night actually, was order some more brushes. Totally forgot. So I just want to add a pretty peachy highlight just to enhance this a little bit. I like really tying all the colors together when I can. And then I'll add a little bit more. Start to play up on these cheeks a little bit. Okay, I'm gonna wash my brush out. I think we can start working on the face now. And I'm gonna take a little bit of black, and the snowman has such a cute little face. I'll start by adding a little dab here for an eyebrow, and one there. Okay, make sure I have enough paint on the tip of my brush here. And we'll start working on the eyes. So the eyes go like this, a little line, tiny little line, and then we go push gently up, bring it back down, and then a little line. Try to line this up. A line, you can put the line there and then go up and then down. Just clean this up a little bit with my little round brush. So I'm just gonna start pulling and flicking gently for some eyelashes. Same with on this side. I'm just pulling from the black that I just added, right? You can just use that. I'll add a little, go for our little eyebrows again. I'm just going and dabbing in a little bit of white right here and there. And I'm going to bring the eyebrows up a little bit higher, so all I have to do here is just kind of go over. I'll just go over those eyebrows there. And I'm going to take a little bit of blue here, and dab. Maybe give her a little bit of eyeshadow or something. And then I'll add her eyebrows up here, just little tiny arches like this. And then I'll continue with just a little bit more black. You definitely can use your liner brush for this. Okay, then I'm going to add a little circle here for the nose. I'm just going to kind of go around, smooth this out a little bit. We're going to go over the nose with some pink, of course. Now I've got a little bit of black here on my brush from doing that, and I'm going to mix it with a bit of my pink, and we will add the mouth. So what we're going to do is right under this cheek, we're going to do a little scoop and then a little scoop on that one. Then we're going to go in the middle, scoop down, a little bit of water here on my brush. Okay, I'm going to wash my brush out. And I'm going to go back into my peachy, pinky color. Dab, dab, dab. Kind of tap in where I left off with that little scoop for her smile. And we'll add a little bit more here to her mouth. And then the nose. I'll get a little bit more to work with on my brush, a little ball of pink right there, a small little circle, and then a little bit of my peach and white in the center. Okay, this is looking pretty cute so far. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below if you're liking this little snowman. I think we can come in and start adding the scarf now. So for the scarf, I'm going to start with a little bit of black. Just in here, we're gonna make a little scoop shape, bring it up, and then I'll add a little bit of a shadow here, a little bit of black, curled up and for her hand, and then kind of come down here. Now this little area in here, we're just going to paint that in. Then I'm going to add a little bit of pink and blend that into the black. We have dark shadow here in between her, under her chin there, and the scarf. Okay, then I'm going to take more pink, and I'm going to go right around the edge, come down on an angle. I'm going to slightly go over our little bouquet there. A little bit more white in with my pink, so just a really light shade of pink. And then we're going to scoop down a little bit right here, and then bring it up. Okay, and then we're going to come down. Let's take a little bit of our black with the pink. Right here, we're going to add a line. Right here, we're going to add a little line. Okay, load my brush up. We're going to scoop down, pull up, over, and twist off. Okay, so down, scoop, round. I'm going to make this area a little thicker. Let's take some more paint. Okay, we're going to do the same thing down below here, but this one's going to be a little bit simpler. Push down and kind of over like that. So scoop, pull, twist, and around. Twist and around. I'm going to add a little bit more black, pink, the blackish pink color here. Shadow right there. All right, I'm going to wash my brush off, and we're going to start adding some highlights. So I'll take some white with pink. Oh, let's add a little bit of that peach color in there too. A little bit more white. Okay, now this time I'm going to start from here. Push, let off, scoop down. Skinny right there. Then we're going to start on the end. pull over. Add some white. Okay. A little bit more color. It all depends on how much color you want to add. And we'll come in here. So I'm going to take my white and I'm going to come right on the top. So we scoop right down here, but then this one goes off to that side, and this one goes off to this side. A little bit of gold here and there. And a little bit of pink. A little bit more color here in front of the scarf. And pull in the rest here on the hat. Okay, well, we're getting there, guys. We'll be doing the cane and the buttons. Now I'm going to do the buttons first. I'm going to just keep using my round brush, a little bit of black and my blue turquoise. And I'm going to start right here, push and dab, kind of like ovals, oval shapes. Well, that's how I'm doing mine, but you can make yours any shape that you want. If you want them to be round, you can make round ones. I'm just going to go around the face here slightly. Definitely going to soften that. Take a little bit of that off. A little bit more of that blue and black. And clean my brush off. And just add a little bit more white down here, there, just for a little bit more of a shadow. And then dab, 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 and soften. Okay, so on the inside of the buttons now, I'm going to take a little bit of blue and white, and I'm going to tap. Gonna go over the brim of the hat again with a little bit of my turquoise. Gonna add just a little bit of turquoise to her eyes there. And a little bit here on her backside where we'd have a little bit more of a shadow. Now we're gonna have the cane right about here, so I'm just taking a little bit of blue, maybe a little blue-gray, to have an area here where the shadow will be. And then we'll add the highlight after. So we can just start with our cane, and I'm gonna take a little bit of black and white first, make a gray color, and we'll start, line it up here, the cane, curve over, and then pull right over the hat. Glue it over our button a little bit. Well, pretty much right over it. So if you want to make your button, we can move our button, that last button, over a little bit more. Fix that there. That way we can still see that third button. Okay, now I'm gonna start adding some highlights. Just gonna dab over here again. And then down here, a little bit of my yellow and white. I'll add a little bit more blue right above. And then come back in and just add a few little scoops with my white. Okay, I'm gonna take a bit of white and yellow. And I'm gonna start my highlight. So we'll start kind of right from the center where it curves down. And then on the inside, mainly here, and we'll go over with a little bit more dark colors after. Line it up right under the hand. Let's add a little bit more gold. I'm calling it gold, but it's just that luminous yellow. And a little bit of white, very gently, delicately. Then I'm going to go back to my blue and black. carefully sort of outline this to make it stand out from the snowman's body, right? You really want it to stand out. And I'll add a little bit more black here where I need to. So right underneath and then over the top. Down at the base, over. Now I'm just going to scoop up. So I've got lots left here. I'll take a little bit of pink and the yellow. And then I'm going to add a little bit of snow. Just dab, dab, dab. A little bit of snow collecting there on the top of the cane. I'm going to add a little bit more snow down here as well. Now I think if you added some glitter somewhere on here, it would look really pretty too. This would be pretty on a Christmas card or a Christmas ornament. Okay, I'm going to go around the edge down here and re-highlight where that foot comes. Add a little bit of blue on this button that we went over, and then a little bit of white. Maybe there's some snow on there. Okay, I'm going to take a little bit more white, maybe a little bit of pink in there. And there happens to be a little bit of pink in there. That's pretty. We can just go ahead and add a little bit of that. Maybe even a little bit of pink and blue for sort of a mauve color. That's really pretty actually. I like that. So again, that's just pink with a little bit of blue and white. I'm just going to add a tiny bit of black in here for a little bit more of a shadow. I'm going to wash all that black out and add my final highlight around the face. A few little dabs here, maybe there's some snow. And now we can start adding some snowflakes. I just want to show you guys an easy way that I like to paint snowflakes. So I'm going to use my mini liner brush and I'm going to take a little bit of, just tint my white with whatever I've got, a little pink, a little that yellow. And we can start, let's start making one down here. So I start with making a little dot and then I pull for like a star shape, how we would paint little stars. So make sure I'm reloading often. And then what I like to do is just pull little lines, or you can tap like this. It works better when you do it quick, I find. Pull another, well, I guess like an X, whatever looks like. And then you can do a few little dabs, little dots if you want. A little bit more white, make sure it stands out and shows up. So it's pretty fun and easy to make snowflakes. And I'm just gonna add another one right here. Again, that star. And you can also do little dabs instead of lines. As long as you're making somewhat of a pattern, and it doesn't have to be a perfect pattern either. Or you can even start coming in with your little lines. And it's nice to alternate and change it up a little bit too. That way, because there's no snowflake, no two snowflakes the same. They're all different. So just a few little snowflakes like that here and there. And then you can just do a few little simple stars as well to change it up and have them all a little bit different. I'm gonna make some pink ones, really, really light pink. Could make ones all different pastel colors. Throw some beautiful iridescent glitter on as well. That would be really pretty. I have a couple here in the foreground. I think this looks pretty. And it stands out over the shadow area down here. So I'll add a few more here before I call this one done. See how some areas here, I'm just going to do little, pretty little dabs. Always changing it up. Add a little bit more of a highlight now inside this nose, now that I can, because it was too wet before. Take a tiny bit of blue for just a little bit of an outline, slight shadow. We'll come in with a little bit of black. This is optional, but these little things, little bits of highlights here and there, all these little steps make your paintings stand out even more. So just this little bit of black here will give me a little bit more of a shadow and a bit more contrast. Now I think I'll tint my white with a little bit of the yellow. I'll add a few more snowflakes. Couple more little dots and dabs here, little blobs. So I've got a nice mixture of different types of snowflakes. I think all of these together make it really pretty. So the only thing left to do is sign this painting, and I'm going to use my little liner brush, a little bit of blue with some black. And I just like to put mine, I usually sign my paintings down on the bottom right, unless there's something in my painting going on down in the bottom right already and I don't want to cover it up with my signature. But I like to make my signature kind of scrolly and curly lines. And then I'll add the year, so it's 2021 right now. Okay, so I'm gonna add the last details now. I decided just to go over and grab the last little bit of my peachy color I made here with my pink, white, and yellow. Still using my little liner brush. I'm going to add a little accent here and there on the cane and the snow on the hat above the brim and on the very top of the hat. I just want to thank you guys so much for joining me today, for all of your support on everywhere, Patreon, Instagram, Facebook, and of course here on YouTube. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. Have fun painting this one, and I'll see you all soon in my next video. Thanks everybody. Bye.